One Love and Wellness. Welcome to the next episode of Heart Happy Hour. I hope you can hear me. I'm grooving too. I already told you in the background some of my music. I already told you it's in the sky. If you don't know, it's not just when you've died. Heaven here on earth, heaven in the sky. It's some money here if you know how to flow with it. Flow, 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 flow. Welcome to this episode of Heart Happy Hour. I'm Precious Mother Love. Love plus art equals wellness. And we're going to get into the thickness of it. Today we are listening to I Already Told You. Again, that is my music. I just want to tell you where Heart Happy Hour started, how it started, why it started. So, several people in my family and my close circle of friends started passing. And my heart needed some attention. My heart needed some warming. My heart needed some hugs. And I started doing some research on further on what would help me, what was therapeutic to help me to heal my heart during these times. So Heart Happy Hour came as I was doing research on how to heal myself. Now, Love plus Art equals Wellness is my business. I have a website. I have several therapeutic and healing therapies, healing sessions, healing modalities that are offered on my website. But I hadn't yet been through what I'd been through to get me to this point. So I started on Facebook, did about a year and a half on Facebook. This is season 3. I started this on YouTube because I really wanted to see a broader audience come into play. So what I want to do today, I want to talk about, last week we talked about the heart of the matter. This week we're going to talk about all is mind. And we'll talk about a few things related to the holy day season, the reason for the season. I talked a little bit about during the month of October, leading up to Halloween. I talked about the veil being thin then. I talked about the season as it changes and turns to fall, where the sun goes, starts to fall beyond the horizon. So our days get shorter as we get closer to the winter solstice, which is around the time of Christmas, which happens to hold a similar story to when they say, he died and then he rose in 3 days. Well, the sun stands still for 3 days and then begins to rise, moving towards longer days and to our spring. So I want to talk about the holy days and my interpretation, what resonates with me as to the reason for the season. And I have a poem. You just heard some of my music, so we usually start off with some music. Now we will move on to my poem. This poem it started as a mantra slash affirmation slash meditation. It really started as a meditation. I went to a class in 2020 with one of my mentors, Billy Carson, and he did a similar meditation. I had already been doing my 2020 vision and my vision board classes. So I wanted to enhance it by using some things he had on his master manifestation checklist. So I did. I incorporated some of the things, and you'll hear some of it in this poem. Again, this poem has 3 purposes. Not only is it a message for your meditation, it is also mantras and affirmations. And then it rhymes a little bit. So here we are. Empty your cup and fill it up. Remove, release all rocks, blocks that stop your progress. Release all blame, all claims. All is tame and timid. And the sky's the limit. No time, no gravity, just light. Lighten your load. Empty your bowl. Inhale life. Exhale stale. Breathe in light, fresh, fragrant. Breathe. Exhale. And prepare for the new. New energy, new life, new reasons, new rights. Be at peace as you place your new manifestations claiming its experience as you pick it. Pick your right nows, pick your good now, pick your love now, and if add it to your collage for your massage, for your manifestations of your radical envisions and emanations. You have it, you bought it, you feel it, you smell it, and touch it all over yourself. And in this life, smell it, say it. I love my new life as a doer of my dreams. My new look, my new thoughts are a universal draw. The lines are connected and are cleared to what matters. The exchange, I replace all the former with all the new life inserts that I'm walking and living and breathing it. Discerning the signs as they flash before my eyes, I quickly reveal and realize with real eyes, the eyes into the soul. Walk in it, step in it, speak it, hear it, make it clear. Be the seer, be nonlinear, be complex. Reflect, retract. In fact, relax. In fact, fade to black. Suck it in, pretend, intend, blend. Harm no one, just defend. Then grin within, ascend above. And like a glove, acquit the quick wit. Don't forget to port and sort your game like a sport. Export your lane, ride your line, leave all behind. All roads lead to appreciation. Distill the water, electrify your dreams, land where you're supreme and extreme. Believe you can achieve, then conceive in harmony. The vibe. And did I put my sunglasses? In harmony, the vibe. Glide down the road like it was a lightest load that growed from the untold, the unsung, the clear visions, then showed in the fluid and flowed. You can do it. Ashe, ashe, like these. Reminds me of Star Trek, but it actually does help me to see better. I have some glasses that have pinholes in them. I've used them over the years. I do have those available, but I find these work better than the pinholes. Who knew? I don't need glasses. I just need the LeVar Burton's get up part of his costume. I don't know if you knew that it worked, but it certainly does. So let me get back to the points at hand. Turkey Day, Thanksgiving Day. So this year, 3 days after Thanksgiving, is Hanukkah. Interesting. Okay, very interesting the timing that we place these holy days in conjunction with the cosmological events. In particular, our full moon was the week before Thanksgiving. So I am not certain how well it lines up with some of my other thoughts, but for the month of December, when we have our full moon, which is the 18th of December, the winter solstice is 3 days following that. And 3 days following that is when the sun begins to rise again. So the winter solstice is the shortest day of the year. It has the most darkness. And so if I were to speculate as to why the veil is so thin starting around, I think it's the Druids' New Year, November 1. So October is, I guess you would say, the ending of the year, which also is the timing for All Hallows Eve, All Souls Day, All Saints Day, however you put it. And the month of October, I did a lot of speculation or reflection. My what actually resonates with me. I put together what I thought my thoughts are, that these holy days relate a lot to cosmological events like the placements of planets, but in particular for things like full moons, eclipses. We had an eclipse with this last full moon just before Thanksgiving. It was a partial eclipse in Taurus. So, what I am speculating on now in relation to these holy days, in that the full moon happens just before the winter solstice, you know, I feel a specific energy. I mean, if we're 80 to 90%, however much percent fluid, water, liquid, we are influenced the same way that the tide would be influenced. So, as the full moon is, they say insurance companies tally that more accidents, more car accidents happen at that time. And for whatever reason, more car accidents happen with red cars. At least that's what it was last time I read Consumer Digest. That was something I grew up on. My dad used to tell me that was the kind of research that we would do on our purchases so that we would have whatever information that would be valuable for us to make a purchase. And so in this case, I'm saying we are affected very highly by these full moons. As a youth, when I had my cycle on the regular, I was always my on the full moon. I was having my cycle, and I never realized what it was that it was synchronized with the moon. But I hear now, I hear tell that was very natural. That was something that a lot of people do, and maybe some people don't even notice it. But I recognized that when I started having every year, when my birthday was very close to the full moons, I would be on my cycle for maybe about 10 years. I was on my cycle on my birthday. And that was, not the best thing, because I'd be planning out of town trips, I'd be planning romantic episodes, or others would be planning it for me. But, there was no way to fulfill that and still feel, so I started having to plan around it and say, well, let's go the week before and let's go the week after. That's kind of how my birthday turned into celebration for a season. So I'm the reason for the season at that point. But I actually started it first. It was the week before and the week after. That's, I expanded it to the week before and the week after. Now it goes the month before, 30 days before my birthday, and 30 days after my birthday. For me, that's how I feel. So, because that's the energy that I feel, I started to analyze our holy day season, because Thanksgiving is this year in particular 30 days or one full month before the Xmas Day, or, when we do have our winter solstice, which I feel is the reason for the season. To me, that is my thought. But, we have so much darkness during that time. It's colder. We're usually supposed to be in hibernation. We have our celebration and our feast at the end of fall, per se. Excuse me, that's when Thanksgiving comes. And then we have our, let's just say, whatever we saved up, all the goodies, all the things we've been doing to celebrate the season. We get together, we do another feast in 30 days. So, and funny to say that my leftovers from Thanksgiving are usually something that I manipulate up until the time to start preparing for fixing for the next feast, which is for the winter solstice. I call it that now, but previously it might have been considered for when Santa came to town. But I don't celebrate that as much anymore. I feel that energetically there are other things that I want to attribute the season for. And in line with the Heart Happy Hour, I think that, with this pandemic, the way that things are going in the pandemic, that one of the things is we are separated from each other more than 6 feet. And that 6 feet is the number that they said, you must be 6 feet apart. So I believe that has some relativity to why they have us moving that amount of distance. I know they said, if you sneeze, if something can, the air, the flow, whatever. So it's all kinds of things that are said, but the unsaid sometimes needs to be considered. And so if our heart emanates a frequency up to, 6 feet or so around us, that is our aura range. In some cases, depending on how focused or how energetic we are, it could be bigger. In some meditations, we tell folks to send out love or send out healing or send out a certain type of energy, and to cover yourself, to cover your place of residence or wherever you're sitting, to cover the buildings that are in the block, to cover the buildings that are in the section, to cover the buildings of the whole region, and to reach to the ends of the earth and possibly into the universe. So if you are intentionally saying that, doing that, feeling that, knowing that, following that, then, but on the average, on the regular, we are emanating a frequency that reaches out to about the most sensitive areas. The place that it can be felt the most is up to about 6 feet from yourself. And there are some people who can sense that, that's your vibe. That's what is felt when you walk into a room. As far as what's emanated by others, that's what folks feel from you, as far as the vibe they get from you. And that could be from what's in your heart, but it could also be what's in your head, because there are there synapses is the electronic transfer between brain cell to brain cell. So there is, sometimes when your head itches, when you're thinking, one of the reasons why people will scratch it is because the energy is being accentuated during that time. When you hear your computer going very fast and you hear those wheels go zzz, is because it is actually working up, some new information, working through a new process. And so our internal processes, it actually emulates what a computer does. The same thing for a camera, the same thing for the audio, video, all the different technologies that we use. They're usually emulating things that we can do with our body. I mean, we are electric, electrons, protons, neutrons. We are made of electric. We exchange, we emit frequency. We have a vibe. But during this season, we're separated a lot more than, the cold weather keeps people in. We only come out for special reasons, special occasions, these particular celebrations. As I said, we're Hanukkah begins tonight at midnight. Kwanzaa begins the day after Xmas or Christmas. I have a hard time even saying it right now because I have decided that I am celebrating something else. So in order for me to say that, I'm having to bring it back to the forefront of my mind, where I've actually tucked it away and now have begun to associate with new things. So I am seeing some changes in the way that I relate to things, because I have decided that the reason for the season is more energetic, is more cosmological, is more darkness than light. We're going from the light to the dark, or from the dark to the light, that circle, that cycle of life. We are as we watch the leaves fall and turn all these beautiful colors, and as we watch the ground get hard and the flowers, there's annuals and there are all kinds of other things that will grow. They are now dormant, or they become frozen in time, frozen in the ground, as everything gets colder, as the light is less and less per day. So while the veil is thinnest, I believe these are times when, we would actually be more dormant. We would be hibernating. We would be, most likely we're gaining some weight just before this time, because not only are we we're gearing up for this time, just like the squirrels when they're gearing up with their, collecting their nuts. We're doing the same thing. We're collecting the fruits of our gardens. We are freezing, canning. We are making sure that we have what we need through the winter. And those who live in the wilderness or off the grid, or who live in areas like Alaska, I love watching those kind of wilderness activities. I love watching the various shows where they test the people, or the people test their own resistance and resilience, and go out and face the elements, and make it through, using their ingenuity, or the different tools, tricks of the trade, all the different things that they need to be able to get through. I enjoy watching those kinds of things. I mean, I grew up camping. I grew up with a huge backyard. My backyard opened up to woods and a creek, so I was really an outdoorsy person. Brew fruit, my dad, my mom's second husband, I call him my dad, but Pops taught me how to grow things, and then to see the time and then the harvest. So I was able to experience, even though I wasn't in the country per se. I mean, my dad was raised in the country, but not me. I mean, I spent some summers in the country where grandma would take us down there, and we would be part of the harvest crew. We would get canned goods to take home with us, as part of our reward, which was awesome. I always wanted apple butter. Or after my mom married Pops, his mom made things like couscous. At least that's what it was called there, but it was like a hot sauce mixed with the peppers and that kind of thing. Ooh, my mouth waters just think about it. It was awesome. But in any case, I don't want to go too far into my personal history. Although I did see something, another one of my mentors, and I haven't actually met him. A couple of my mentors I have met, but I haven't met Ralph Smart. But he had mentioned something in reference to telling your truth, and he even says something about coming out. And of course, he flips the script with his words. He's a very talented user of this language. And, I feel myself in that way as well, being able to get into the science of the word. And I also, love plus art equals wellness. That was something that was given to me by the Spirit. And then when I looked at it, it's L plus A equals W, which spells out law. So I actually do feel as though my 5 words of wellness are some of the laws that should be utilized for your wellness. I do say that, a lot of the things that I'm finding out as far as the science of myself, I feel like these are things that might benefit and help other people. This is why I get on here. I want to help others to be able to be at the place where I am, where I have seen firsthand. I mean, this vessel, this body, this temple has healed broken bones, has healed depleting and deadly diseases. This body has healed in ways that were intended for my harm, but because I was able to be in my mind and take control of the automated, the processes in my body. I mean, there's some things that I have to let go because I don't know the intricacies of how they operate. I just may look at a picture of it on the internet and say, I'm directing my energy to that area to heal. There are times that I've gone into the hospital, and in while I was in the hospital, they find things on the X-ray. They find things that they test, and some kind of way, I always get them to retest me before I leave, and then they see that it's no longer there on their X-ray or in their test, because I go inside and I work on it. All is mine. If it is all mine, I mean, that's something that is said of the Egyptians. If it is all mind, if you don't mind, it don't matter. If it doesn't matter to you, then don't mind it. That's apparently, true. If you don't mind it, meaning you don't let it stick into your mind, you don't let it become an obstacle, you don't let you just set it and you forget it. That's my thought. But I am able to teach others. I have this vision board class that I teach, and I have 4 parts to it, where I train people what to do with the vision board after having the vision board. So one of the things that I do is that manifestation mantra meditation that I read earlier. And that's just kind of one of the ways that to tell how things can work. So if you visualize it, if you are able to see yourself healthy, if you're able to see your troops. I mean, I've had to call, like whenever I've gotten things that have happened to me, I've had to call in my power, call in my troops, call on the forces in my immune system, my immunity, and tell them, hey, you got your marching orders, go do it. And believe it or not, in sometimes 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, the most is 3 days that I have had in the beginning. That, like the doctor puts you on, bed rest for 3 days. I've done that for myself, to put myself initially on bed rest for 3 days. And then after that, I started picking up more and more ways of how things are done, how your mind can mend, how your mind can handle things that you just set it and forget it. You just have to believe it in order to conceive it, in order to achieve it. You have to. You cannot have the doubt that that it's not going to happen. And for instance, today, I always have current stories to tell you about, right? I'm telling you, it happens every day to me. But today I was in the process of, I haven't tested myself as far as how I type in years. So my first test, I typed, and it was 20 words a minute. I've typed up to 40 words a minute, and I actually had to pass a test that said I was going to type 40 words a minute. So I practiced the first couple, 4 or 5 times. The first time it was 20, then it was 24, then it was 32, then it was 35. And then about the fifth or the sixth time, I got it up to 39.8 words per minute with about 96% accuracy. And I was able to pass the test. Now, I just had, to tell myself, you can do this. You can do this. I haven't typed under a time circumstance situation in 30 plus years. But I had in mind that I am a winner. I am a conqueror. No weapon formed against me shall conquer. All those kinds of things. Those are good to me. Those are things that, it means something to me. So in the ways that I say I don't necessarily vibe with some of the things that were being taught from the Bible, I vibe more with some of the things that haven't been taught from the Bible. I vibe more with some other books that I have read all my life. For instance, Yogananda Paramahansa, the author of the autobiography of a yogi, he and, gosh, I can't think of the other person. There was a friend of mine, when he passed out, and I think he was on his way to, he blacked out, but he felt that as he was blacking out, that it was like one long orgasm. And Yogananda says that death is like going into an orgasm. And so I've also heard that an orgasm for men is on the edge of the cusp of death at that time. And I've actually seen, one or two people where they've actually almost died. And in particular, my college buddy, actually my college roommate, her mom dated a friend of mine, and this friend is actually very famous, but his father passed coming and going at the same time. That Richard Pryor saying, that's, a lot of men would prefer it to be that way in their lives. If they had to go, that's one of the most preferred ways to go. And from what I'm told, that is the possibility that could be the case in a lot of cases, unless you have encountered some sort of trauma, that it would be like going into an orgasm. So, one love and wellness, that is the end of what I have to say today. I did go off the cuff. I did have some things, titles and topics that I wanted to, make sure that I discussed. I went into a little further depth of those things, and that is, I don't usually go into as much depth, but I did want to let you know that Every week we will be talking about things that'll help make your heart happy. So, as I turn up the volume of the music that's going to be in the background at the end of this episode, I just want to tell you that my 5 words of wellness, when I do give you the fullness of them, and I may do that in fullness, make the whole episode next week, or whenever I do it in the next couple of days, about the 5 words of wellness, because I'm moving towards what am I doing this new year, this what while I'm hibernating at this time of the year. I'm going to be preparing myself for as 2022 comes in. I may not make it to my mentor's event, Manifest Destiny, but and they have a weekend event coming up, and I would love to attend it. I'm just not financially in a position to do what I've done in the past. Right now, I'm saving up for some wonderful things. I have a new arrival, a grandbaby on the way, so I am changing the way that I do my finances so that I can be fully available for my daughter to be able to be a part of my grandbaby's life. I also have a brother that I am about to become more helpful for, and he's got brain damage. But that song that we heard first, that song is about him. That's called "I Got My Money." That song is about actually one of my brothers. He did the background track, and it's about the other brother. I have 2 brothers by my mom. I had a total of 7 brothers if you count the marriage and the first and second marriages and the children of their previous encounters. So, in any case, one love and wellness. We'll talk about the 5 words of wellness next time. No matter what the sign you're rising to the sun, we gon' I just want to give you another hug and squeeze on some good information. Definitely check me out. My I don't know what I'm saying. I just want to give you all that I can, as much as I can, and tell you, come back next time. It was good to see you this time. Well, love and wellness. Ashe. We're topping, popping bottom. Better ways and better days.